remember about being in Lambeau for those game days, and do you cherish going back when you get the chance?
Yeah, I mean, the only time I go back is when we play there. But listen, it's a lot like Kansas City that way. They're passionate about football, and it is a neat environment. I mean, we look forward to that challenge of going up there and playing. I know our guys do. So, but I had a great time there. You know, we won a world championship, and so my experience there was top notch.
Chris, you looking forward to Lambeau Field?
Absolutely. Such a historic field. For all the Super Bowls and the Lombardi, just the history of the field is it's amazing. So I'm always looking forward to playing in such an environment, similar to KC's, right?
I haven't got to play like an actual game. I've actually never got to play a game in general because the games that I've been there were the fourth preseason games. So I wasn't playing in the games, and so I'm extremely excited for it. I mean, I've watched it my whole entire life. And I know it's going to be a hostile environment, and the fans are going to be loud. It's going to be a lot like Arrowhead is to other teams, like you're saying. But I'm excited. If you love football, you love Lambeau Field, and I'm excited to get the opportunity to play there.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Marco Marquez and Jake Gutierrez. First time I said all four at the beginning of the show.
Wow.
I get to do that twice.
2 times.
One more. How about that? So how about that?
Good stuff.
Is it?
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today on the show. We will talk to our NFL insider, Adam Kaplan, who joins us every Thursday. That'll be at 7:30. Then in the 8 o'clock hour, are both the boys in studio? This is your last time reaching out and confirming with them. Did you touch base?
I did.
With the dynamic duo of Gary Dieter and Anthony Sherman?
I did, and they pick up from you guys because the first message I got back was, we better have our checks when we get in there.
Right. That's right.
They learned that from
You better have my money. No, that's right. Hey.
Rain, sleet, or snow.
I know when's I get paid.
Yep.
And that's today. So, thank you.
It's payday, baby.
And so Gary Dieter and Anthony Sherman will be here. Man, we're going to have to make that introduction. That's going to be – you're going to have to pass the baton to Jake.
Have they ever met Jake in person?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, do they have any idea what's in store for them?
No. Does he have any idea what's in store for him?
No.
No, that's the one, like, of all the things that we have to address as far as the transition going from Marco to Jake, that's the one that I'm thinking that could be interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think each side, like Sherm is Sherm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Gehrig is, to me, he's hilarious, but you got to know when Gary's jacking around and when he's not. You know what I mean? Like, he's a little bit like me.
Yeah.
You know, but I get Gehrig.
He's very deadpan when he is
Right.
jacking around, but he's almost always
Like
jacking
he
around.
jacks with me and I jack with him, but I like it. I know one time Jake even texted me and said, "Were you guys really mad at everything?" But like I game respect game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you can't take it, don't dish it out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Gary does a good job of dishing it out, and he has to take it, especially from Sherm and me when he's in here. And so I think that Sherm and Jake are gonna like each other a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know about Gary and Jake. I don't know. I think so.
It'll be a good chemistry
Does that make
experiment.
sense?
100%. Yeah, I think that Sherm will actually...
I feel like Sherm and Jake could end up in a 20-minute conversation.
Yeah.
Like in the hallway, like, yeah, that's right, yeah. You know, and just, you know, and Gary and Jake could be giving each other some funny looks. for a while.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. I'm playing the scenarios through in my head. I think there's an outside chance that if he has the authority that Sherm arrests Jake for something, while
maybe.
he's here. I don't know if he has the authority to do that or not. But most likely, I think you're right. I think I think Sherm likes authenticity,
I think Sherm will appreciate Jake's personality.
Yeah, I think he'll like Jake's authenticity and a personality.
We'll see. And then Jesse Newell from the Kansas City Star. Now, he doesn't like Jake. We know that from the past, and they have met. And so he does not appreciate Jake.
It's very contentious between those
so
two.
we'll see if Jesse actually shows up because he was a lot of pushback from him.
Yeah, he tried very hard to talk us out of this whole thing.
Right. Thank you very much to Jay Rieger and Jay Rieger Distillery for sponsoring our stream every morning from 6 until 7 a.m. The first hour of the Border Patrol is streamed live on Facebook, Twitter, X, and Twitch. And hold up that Mizzou bottle. That's what you want to hold up.
Well,
Yeah,
apparently
delicious.
Marco had a shot of all 3 bottles, and then I took one.
Yeah, right. That's right.
I'll put them back so Marco can,
You don't care what he does.
No, that's all right. You're selling it.
And Jay Rieger wants to remind you that the first partnership between Mizzou and Jay Rieger, 6 columns straight bourbon whiskey, perfect for Mizzou tailgates, watch parties, and celebrations, made right here in Missouri, only from Jay Rieger. Cheers to great whiskey and cheers to Mizzou. Let's go to an NY6 Bowl, why don't we? I might.
You get the whole band back together, get Stephen
No.
St. John Sr. to
It's
be the
not
wheel man?
It's not happening. Okay?
Tony Temple in the car with you?
Listen, Steve St. John Sr. wasn't allowed to drive home from Selena's basketball game last night.
Okay.
So
He could be riding shotgun for you, though.
he's a daytime driver now.
Daytime driver. I get that. Yeah, that's.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Just for his safety and others. And also there's a tremendous amount of anger from him at other drivers.
Right.
And that's elevated since the SEC championship game back in 2013. So I'm going to say no. No to
So
that
which
one.
one do you want?
Oh, what would be the best case scenario? I would
For you,
want,
like if it may be easiest to get to.
Oh, for me to
or-
go?
Like Cotton Bowl would be easiest to get to, right?
I would like Cotton Bowl against Penn State.
Yeah.
That would be like,
Yeah.
because you could drive to the Cotton Bowl, and I think Penn State does have a fantastic defense. They don't have a great offense. I think I would like Mizzou to play a big name school that's also top 10 or whatever, and I was reminded by some older Mizzou fans that there's still some anger at Penn State from I think the 19 look it up, Marco, 1969 Orange Bowl, so that
Right.
they can bring, there's some nostalgia there, and that's they've been for a long time one of the big names in college
Yeah.
football. That would be fun.
They're a traditional
that'd be-
football power.
That would be fun for me, and I think there would be a lot of people that would be willing to get on board to root for Mizzou over Penn State.
Yep.
I would like that. It would be super exciting. I'm not going to get too deep into how it could happen or how it couldn't happen, but I'd love to play the runner-up, whoever loses the Pac-12 title game. Whether it's Washington or Oregon, whoever doesn't make the college football playoff, that would be. How exciting! Oregon's tough, man. I think Oregon's going to win, and I think right now I'd certainly put them in the top 3, but they might be playing better. They might be playing better than anybody. That would be a hellacious matchup. I'd love to see him play Washington in the Gary Pinkel Bowl. Gary Pinkel would love that, let me tell you, because of course that's where he grew to prominence as an offensive mind and an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's guru before he left Washington, where he coached under Don James and took over the program at Toledo for a decade and then came to Mizzou. But he always talks about with such reverence, everything he learned under Don James and that system that he took to Toledo and took to Mizzou. And so I think that would be a lot of fun. And I can imagine that we would have a great. I'd hopefully have Gary Pinkel in here for an hour in studio talking about Mizzou and Washington playing in the bowl game. Then after that, I mean, pie in the sky. Again, there's reasons why certain matchups aren't going to work, and Orange Bowl has a tie-in with the ACC and everything else, and I'm not going to bore people with all that, but like if somehow they could get matched up against Ohio State, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
And then after those, then Texas or the G5 school. I'm just not. Hey, if it ends up being Texas in the Cotton Bowl, great. Mizzou would have us against the world. Texas would be favored. It'd be basically, I mean, there'd be a lot of fans, Mizzou fans down in the Cotton Bowl, but it would be the Cotton Bowl. It's Texas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I certainly look. Even if they played Tulane, great. Hey, last year K-State couldn't beat Tulane, and USC couldn't beat Tulane in a bowl game. So there'd be no shame. And Tulane's a fantastic program under Willie Fritz. But I would be more excited with Penn State, Pac-12 school, or Ohio State or something like that. So then that would be super exciting. And then after that, Texas to the G5 school. And I would like, even though it would be easier for me to drive, I mean, I would love to see them go to the Fiesta Bowl because I've never seen them in the Fiesta Bowl before. I probably wouldn't go. That would eliminate me from contention. I might go.
A lot of flights on Southwest down in Phoenix.
Right. But I might go to the Peach Bowl. It's Atlanta because I've been told by our friend Samir, Dr. Amy Patel's brother, Samir, who lives in Atlanta, who is a huge fan of the Border Patrol, of Mizzou and Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift.
Right.
Long before everyone else became a Swiftie. He said I could crash at his place if I go to
nice.
Atlanta. So I've got, that's an edge right there for me.
That is an edge. We got to know somebody that's got a place in Phoenix for you.
Maybe. I don't know. So it's all, look, whatever it is, I'm going to be super excited.
Yeah.
You know why? Because if you would have told me at the beginning of the season, Mizzou's going to win 10 games and they're going to go to an NY6 Bowl, I would have been overwhelmed with joy. I wouldn't have believed
told you that 2 weeks into the season.
I wouldn't have believed you, but I would have been overwhelmed with joy.
Right.
And so whatever it is, I'm going to be super excited about it.
Yeah.
But there's just certain games and certain matchups that I'd be more excited about than others.
Yeah. Just asking you for a ranking, which games you'd like the best. That's good.
But I've just I feel like I'd like to see him play Penn State.
Yeah.
Well,
I think you like your chances against them.
Right, and I also like, being a football nerd. I like the fact that Manny Diaz is the former Miami head coach. He's the defensive coordinator for Penn State, and he's one of the best defensive coordinators in football. Blake Baker is a Manny Diaz protege. Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator for Mizzou. They were together at Louisiana Tech, and then Blake Baker was defensive coordinator at Miami under Manny Diaz when he was the head coach. So you have two really good defenses in Penn State and Mizzou that are coordinated by the teacher and the student.
Yeah.
And so they would know each other so well. And so then you'd have Blake Baker kind of in the ear of Mizzou's offense of, hey, this is what Manny likes to do on defense. This is, and then I'm sure Manny Diaz, like, hey, I taught him everything. I taught him everything he knows, but not everything I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that would be cool.
That's
right.
Yeah. Good storyline.
That's a fun storyline. But whatever, man, just bring it on. Bring Sunday on. I'm gonna be so excited to watch that. And look, and I'm sure that most Mizzou fans feel the same way. We have our preferences, but there it is. The Orange Bowl back in 69/70. Penn State beat Mizzou 10-3, and our friend Paul, Tiger Paul from the Tiger Club, is still furious because he sat out in the rain for that game. So he wants revenge.
Yeah, well, hey, man.
Over 50 years later, he still is not satisfied with. I get it.
It's a dish best served cold.
I get it. I told him, and that doesn't sound ridiculous to me, because even though, we just went through a stretch where the Chiefs beat the Broncos 16 games in a row, and you would think that would satisfy my taste for blood from Denver, as a Chiefs fan, I will never, and even and the Chiefs have won multiple Super Bowls and been to multiple Super Bowls and all this, right? I will never truly be able to eradicate the anger and the angst I have against Denver until the Chiefs beat them in a playoff game.
Wow.
And then I'll be able to put that to bed.
Maybe that happens this year.
Okay, great. Because I still hold that's still one of the most heartbreaking, devastating losses that I experienced as a sports fan when the Chiefs lost to John Elway and the Broncos in the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yep.
You know, and I get it. So many great things have happened since then for the Chiefs and the Broncos. You know, the Chiefs beat them 16 times in a row, and that's great. And I'm happy and I'm pleased, but still, there's always that one little let's beat them in a playoff game, just one time.
I wonder if that
Daddy
happens.
Says goodbye.
Even then, you'll still probably hate them. You know,
But I mean, they'll just be like a little
yeah,
that demon is gone away. You know. But it's just funny because listening to him talk about that, he goes, "I'll never forget standing in the rain to get in." And he was like, he got all fired up. I go, hey, easy now. But I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
You know, you hold those grudges forever in sports. That's why we love sports. And so I'm super excited, man. I'm excited, and it's going to be again. I feel like this has been on repeat for the past month, but what a weekend in sports we got ahead of us with the championship games coming up on Friday and Saturday, right? And you got to mention Friday because, my God, Oregon and Washington. Why wouldn't you want to watch that? Mm-hmm. And I think most people, if you can agree, if there's three main candidates for the Heisman Trophy, well, you got two of them facing off at quarterback in that game on Friday night.
Yeah.
You know, with a spot in the college football playoffs on the line. You know, a 12-0 team and an 11-1 team, and the only team that the 11-1 team lost to was the team they're playing again, right? And so like that Friday night's going to be great, you know, and then you get into Saturday, and you've got all those matchups, which takes us into Sunday for the college football selection show and the NY6 selection show. And then, oh, by the way, that night the Chiefs play in Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and add.
Let's go!
Friday night, KU versus UConn.
Dude.
4 versus 5.
These people are already in their seats at Allen Fieldhouse now.
I know.
I saw a video of that. How many people are already camped in?
I mean, it seems like the whole student section pretty much is filled up already.
Did you guys ever do that? Marco, did you ever do that?
I used to camp out. We didn't sit in the seats like that back then. We did it all in the hallways of the field house.
So how long is this new? Letting them camp in the seats, or?
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know that I've seen that before.
The camping in the seats part is new. You used to just camp out in the hallway or the hallways, the concourse
So
area.
that's new than camping in the seats. I mean, that was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I remember going because what you do is
Someone will save it before you have to go to the bathroom, though, right? That'd be my problem.
Yeah, well, what we always did, we had a group.
You have an hour.
And
you'd have to. I mean, because you'd have to poop.
Oh yeah.
There's no way you could sit there.
Well, yeah. So what you do is you get a whole group. Yeah, I'd always have a wingman. 2 of us would camp out at the same time because you never know when somebody call roll call. If they call roll call and you're not there, your name's off the list. Boom, you're done.
Oh really?
So we always had like a rotating schedule. Okay, you're there from 1 to 2, and we working around everybody's class schedules and all that stuff. And I remember the first time I ever did it, KU was playing UCLA, I believe it was. And my buddy, who was really more in the group than I was, asked me to come, fill in for an hour. He's like, hey, if you want to sit with us, we'll be right behind the basket if you're willing to help us camp out. So he told me what time to be there, but I didn't really know the process. So I just got there, and I was like, okay, I'm supposed to be here from 2 to 3, and I was.
Mm-hmm.
Some newspaper reporter from the USA Today came and interviewed me, and my buddy Adam Gilstrap was with us. And he's asked, you guys camp out? He's asked us all about it. And he was like, hey, thanks a lot, and he left. And another guy from our group comes over and goes, hey, man, are you in our group? And I said, yeah. He goes, you're supposed to come tell me you're here. I just waited for an extra hour because you didn't check in with me. I just missed my class.
Wow.
Wow.
I was like, oh, that's how this works.
For your own personal gain.
Got there and took all the spotlight.
Yep. Got all the quotes in the USA Today and screwed a guy out of going to class. probably a boring class anyway.
Was he really that upset that he missed class?
Yeah, right? I think he was.
Hey,
mad
you
that
only
he,
get 3 absences, okay? Non-excused absences.
Really?
You got to use them wisely.
He was. It depends on the class. Some classes don't even take attendance, but yeah, I think he was mad that he was laying on a concrete floor for an extra hour while I was sitting
Now,
there
you know
right
what?
next to him.
Nobody forced him to be there.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Quit your
I did feel
complaining.
quite stupid. I was like, oh, yeah, it probably makes sense. I should have checked in with somebody when I got here instead of just assuming that somebody's going to be here at the right time.
Right.
Anyways, yeah, we used to do that some. It was fun. It was fun, man. It was like anticipation for the game, you know? Like, hey.
A lot of kids were in there camping in.
Yeah. They'd start as soon as the last game gets over with. The next morning, they get their names up on the board. And I think they do like a lottery to see like what order you're in. So,
Yes.
anyways, that's Friday night. UConn versus Kansas tomorrow night.
It is Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah. Big weekend coming up.
Damn.
You talk about like teams that you have an interesting, I don't know if it's a rivalry thing or not, but I think as a Kansas basketball fan, there's a lot of looking at UConn like, how do they have so many more national championships than us when we're a better program?
Okay,
than
remind
them?
me, have you accepted them as a blue blood?
Oh, yeah, I accept them as a blue blood.
Because you
yeah.
weren't.
Well, they won another national
But
title.
I feel like
yeah.
also facing Sherm every week helped you accept him as a blue blood. I feel like he kind of forced it on you. If Sherm
Yeah.
will be here in a couple hours, then
Right.
we can get that going again.
Oh, boy.
How's you kind of doing
I
so
wonder if
far?
he's going up
Brian?
to the other 7-0, ranked number 4 in the country.
Well,
Defending national champs, right?
I wonder if Sherm is going. Good to find out. Why don't you and Sherm go together? Use some of
boy.
those connections you got.
I had dinner with Greg Gurley last night. Speaking of connections.
Go on.
That's it.
Oh, you're not going to say anything smart? You know?
He had a lot more dinner than I did.
Right, there you go. That's what we're waiting for. There it is. That's...
You and Sherm should go camping together so you can
Yeah.
get into
Sherm,
this game.
Sherm will camp in
Camp
with
out
you.
Sherm. I'm sure he would love that.
There'd be a bunch of college students, then you and Sherm out there
Yeah.
in a 2-man tent, just waiting to get in. We got lots to talk about. There's our guests. We're gonna, Mark. I want to hear Elvis all morning long. How about
boy.
that? Well, I do.
I don't,
I get to pick my music today.
I'm fine. I'm
Oh,
saying, oh, boy.
well, happy birthday to you.
I don't believe that's to be Elvis,
Happy
but I like this.
birthday to you. Well, happy birthday.
Says it's
Happy
Elvis.
birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you very much.
Man,
Happy
there's so much we
birthday,
can do on your
SSJ.
birthday. I'm so glad it's your birthday, baby.
Yeah, that's not Elvis,
thank
but
you very
it's a good impersonator. Not really, but fine. I get it. I liked it. I'm 51. I'm 50 fun.
John Bukaty turned 50 yesterday.
Wow.
And you turned 51 today. How
Yeah.
great is that?
Unbelievable. Let's take a break. We'll be back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHP.
birthday, baby. Although you're with somebody new, though I drop, I like to say that I wish this happy day will find me beside you. Happy, happy birthday, baby.
Welcome back to the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810
Now I can call you
WHB.
baby.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Seems like years it was
We appreciate it. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty and Marco Marquez and Jake Gutierrez. And thank you very much to all the people that said kind words about the announcement we made yesterday of Marco moving on and Jake coming back. And the podcast dropped late yesterday afternoon on YouTube and Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can check out the latest episode of Hot Mic with SSJ, where, I mean, we ended up, how long was that, like 90 minutes or more, where Marco talks about his decision to move on from the Border Patrol, and Jake talks about his decision to come back, and we just had some fun for like an hour and a half talking, so good response to that so far. Did you guys get the link? Did you see it? I tweeted it out. I try to share it on social media.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got the
Share it on your platforms.
Yeah.
And like and subscribe, because it's a fun podcast with some curse words, but
a lot of laughing yesterday.
don't
That was
let
fun.
that keep you away.
Right. Let that pull you in.
Marco, how do you feel now after finally the word is out that you're leaving, and you had a chance to sleep on it and show up, and it seems like you got the weight of the world off your shoulders, and need any feedback from anyone? Your mom texted my wife last night after she listened to the podcast, and your mom liked it.
Yeah,
thankfully.
Poor mom. She was sitting in a dark room watching it on
Was she
her
crying?
phone. I think so. She had the hood up.
Yeah.
Very emotional time for her watching it. But we talked still, but just still feeling right. Still feeling good about it. And tell you what, it really hit me this morning when I was in there making that pot of coffee. I was like, wow. It's been
Two more pots of coffee and that's it.
This is where I first started drinking coffee the first time I had coffee was here, when I had to fill in for Jake one Christmas break when it was just Nate and I, and with the early mornings kind of just forced it. So became a man here.
Wow, did you? Oh boy.
It's where the hair on my chinny chin sprouted.
Right.
I didn't know where that was going to go.
Yeah, this is a lot of information there, Marco. I never drank coffee before. I mean, I started drinking coffee like maybe less than 10 years ago. I mean, Nate guzzles coffee like it's going out of style, but I never. And so then I started drinking maybe like one black cup or half a cup a day, and that's enough for me. That gets me rolling. So I'm with you. Sometimes you need it getting up this early.
Little jump start.
Someone told me that they weren't going to hold it against me on my parlay advice over the last couple of years. So I got one more piece of betting advice
what
out
is
there.
it?
One
Let's
more
hear it.
play.
What do you got?
It's the New Jersey Devils. We're going NHL.
Jesus.
You go to any Devils match. They play tonight. In fact, playing the Philadelphia Flyers. And you go to the first period game prop, and you bet the over on the total goals between both teams. So it's at 1.5 right now, minus 135. That's what I put it in at this morning. It's hit pretty consistent. So that's my parting gift to Kansas City. Bet on the New Jersey Devils. In whatever game they're playing.
I'm not even sure what to say about that. But if somebody wants to take it, great. Coming up, we're going to have some sound from Andy Reid spoke yesterday, Patrick Mahomes, and also Chris Jones. You heard some of it at the top of the show, so we'll get you ready for the Chiefs and the Packers just in a couple of days. Also, hey, did you see the Royals signed a player? Are you aware of this?
I did see this, yes.
The Royals are getting in on the action out there.
How about those Royals, huh?
Garrett Hampson,
Yeah.
who at one time was a fantasy baseball darling because of his ability to steal bases and playing in Coors Field, but never quite lived up to the hype. And utility player, can play infield and the outfield. To me, a somewhat bizarre signing, unless there's certain moves are going to follow it. 29 years old. Last year played 98 games with the Marlins and hit a career best 276. Played 6 different defensive positions. 26 at shortstop, 13 in center field, 8 in right field, 6 at second base, 4 at third base, and a couple in left field. Yeah. Other than that, like I said, known for his speed, good base stealer. I mean, I don't know. Now they'll get to make a move if they want to take someone in the Rule 5 draft because that fills up the 40-man. I mean, I just feel like you've got, I think they're only paying him $2 million for 1 year, $2 million, but I think you got a lot of guys on the roster that already have the ability to do that are younger and cheaper with more control. And so maybe this is a precursor to a trade or another move. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it's hard to really judge it without the context of what else happens. But it seems like a similar player to some of the guys they already have, right?
Very much so.
A lot of speed, can play a lot of different positions. Not a great hitter.
This kind of dampens my hope that they're going to sign Ohtani, to be honest with you. I was thinking maybe they were.
You're pretty optimistic before that?
I mean, I thought maybe, the Royals were a wild card in that sweepstakes. No?
That sounds a little far-fetched to me, but you never know, I guess.
I will say this about Hampson, because if you look at his career /line, 241, 305 on base, and a 371 slug, you think, yep, that's a Royals player. I mean, that's enough to make you puke in your mouth. But last year, he's a 241 career hitter. He hit 276. He's a 305 career on-base percentage guy. His on-base percentage was 349. 380 slug, he doesn't have any power. But if he's, 276, 349, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll take a guy and get on base at a 350 clip and run.
Like,
Play
okay.
some defense. I'll take that.
All over the diamond. So, it ain't going to sell any tickets. It doesn't make you feel any different about their fortunes next year, but he's a piece. I really hope they go out and do something of significance, and it's not going to be free agency. I'm talking about
like a big trade.
Yeah. Make. They have the ability to do that. They can do that.
Yeah.
But if it's going to be a bunch of moves like this, to be honest with you, it's not going to move my needle. So.
Yeah, I'd like to see him be active on the trade market.
Yeah. Absolutely. And it may,
I'm not like I don't think they're going to go out and spend a lot of money in free agency. And I get it.
No, but I think they could go out and make a reasonable signing for a pitcher.
Yeah.
I don't think it's too much to ask to go out and sign a guy for 3 years, $40 million or something like that.
Yeah.
A guy that could help supplement the rotation or spend some money to shore up the bullpen. But being creative.
Yeah.
Making a trade.
Yeah.
That can, and look, the more active you are, the more chance you hit on something. Like they did this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Reagans, right?
Yeah. That was a big success.
You just didn't stumble upon him. You made a deal, and you got him. You traded Aroldis Chapman, and you got him.
Mm-hmm.
So more of that, please. More of taking the opportunity to trade whatever you feel like you have a surplus of and going out and trying to, because, we haven't really talked about it too much, but Jackson Kowar, they gave up on him. He's gone to the Braves, where I imagine he'll be some type of lockdown reliever. You know, he'll be a great piece in their bullpen. So there, the Royals even said, "Hey, look, hey, don't forget about us." It's the Royals aren't just about effing up this whole stadium situation.
What do you mean? It seems like it's going well. They've
also
named a site.
They'll also sign some players that will make you wonder what they're doing. So hey, they're hitting on all cylinders right now, right? They're in mid-season form. Go Royals. Let's take a break. Back after this on WHB. you have a hot mic with SSJ up there?
I got the Border Patrol up here.
Yeah.
I watched the hot mic. That's on my YouTube.
I still want you to subscribe. Get my numbers up there, please.
Yeah, get them numbers going.
All right.
Pad the stats.
Nick Bolton was back in practice. They're going to ease him in, but at least he's moving in that direction. So that's exciting. For me, at least. Nate doesn't care, but I do.
Why would you say I don't care?
I don't know, because he just like yawned and you guys shrugged your shoulders.
I did not yawn.
Oh.
I yawn. I do yawn sometimes, but I did not yawn.
Yeah.
That's great news. He's a very good player.
You said Big Knowlton, Nick Bolton.
Nick Bolton's a good player. The Chiefs did very well to cover his absence while he was gone, because I thought that was going to be because he's such a good player.
Because that, and once again, that highlights what a fantastic signing Drew Tranquil was.
Yeah.
For 1 year for $5 million. I was surprised that he was available for that number when it happened, and now I'm even more shocked because of how good he's been. He can play every linebacker position. He's good in coverage. He's been solid against the run. He's a good pass rusher.
Seems like a great teammate.
Yeah, and in the brief conversations that I've had with him, well, remember up at training camp, he was the one that really highlighted how different this camp was as opposed to, shockingly, what he'd experienced under Brandon Staley with the Chargers, right?
Right.
He was really, and you could tell that he was being genuine about it, you know? Mm-hmm. And the one thing that he had repeated a couple of times up at training camp is highlighting how much they got done. Because everything's down to, down to a science up here. Because Andy's done it for so long, and he gets a lot of credit around the league for running one of the best training camps, as well he should. He said the amount of work and the amount of things we accomplish in the time that we're given is amazing, basically. And that's a lot of players say that they come in from other organizations. And we just, we hear that all the time as people that cover the Chiefs or follow the Chiefs. We kind of shrug our shoulders about it, and take it for granted. But when you hear a guy like Drew Tranquil, who was a good player for the Chargers.
Right.
But the Chargers have been, over the past few years, a good team, a very talented team. But what have they always been? An underachieving team. Mm-hmm. It seems they've never gotten the most out of their talent. On paper, they should have been better over the past several years than they have been. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe they do need to examine what they do in training camp. And also, who's been one of the most oft-injured teams in the NFL. They're doing something wrong.
Right.
Doesn't
sound like Brandon Staley's really willing to. Well, he doesn't like it when people question him.
No, we'll see if he likes it when people fire him, because that's going to happen. Because if you're not,
I don't think he will like that.
No, but if you're not willing to change or willing to admit when you've had some mistakes, and he's doubled down on a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. Now they're not even going to make the playoffs.
Right.
No, but that stood out to me. And then talking to Tranquil after the win against the Chargers, and just, again, talking about the differences and how much he loves being here. Just think about it. If you were someplace like the Chargers, this dysfunctional, where clearly, and this goes back a couple of years, right? The players don't, and this is one of the big problems for Staley. The players haven't always bought in or believed in what Staley's doing, from some of the decisions he makes, And when you have trouble buying in, or you're not all on board with what the head coach is doing, well, there's going to be dysfunction. But then you come here, like, why wouldn't you be on board with what Andy Reid or Spagnuolo is telling you? Kind of like that old deal with Dick Vermeil. Like, people would question him in the press conference, and he'd tap the podium with his Super Bowl ring and say, well, I know what I'm doing. Andy doesn't need to do that, but, you come here, and you know that they have things figured out.
Yeah.
And Tranquil it's been really interesting to hear him talk a couple of times about that, and I just think he was a brilliant signing, and that's why I think that's going to be one of the more fascinating decisions in the offseason. Is it Willie Gay or Drew Tranquil? Can they keep them both? they're not going to get Tranquil for what they paid this. I mean, like, who's worth more on the open market? Who's the more valuable player? Like, right now, do you have a feel for that? Like, if I told you, don't think about money, or I'm just asking you about the player, you can only keep one, Willie Gay. And Willie Gay is as Marco says, a DAWG. He's a dog, right? And he's got that chip on his shoulder, and he brings a lot of attitude and emotion to the defense, and you need that. And let's be honest with you. Let's be honest with everyone. He has a problem with you, apparently, because you somehow you light a fire under his ass.
Well, that's
we
good
like
though.
That. Right?
Keep him on edge.
Right. And I think Willie Gay's been very, very good this year as well.
Yeah.
If I tell you what you can keep one of those guys next year, who is it?
I keep Willie Gay because he's 3 years younger. But I try to keep both of them. But of course, we know that's one of the challenges for the Chiefs when you're this good. Like Willie Gay.
But that's not a fun answer if you can keep both of them. I have to make you pick.
Right. If money's not an option, my guess is Willie Gay's going to cost a lot more money to keep.
What if Tranquil? What if there's
if you can keep Tranquil for a lot cheaper,
more reasonable price?
Probably keep Tranquil. You know, try to draft another linebacker and develop him. I mean, Willie Gay's arc. You know, we were talking with Matt Derrick, that Bill Self quote about how every player's arc is different, right? Like Nick Bolton Jr. jumped right in and was getting significant playing time right off the bat. Had the green dot very early in his career. Willie Gay took a little bit longer, but look at how good he is now. You know, his arc was just different. And something, as Matt said, we got to do well to remember about like Felix Onyeudike Uzama, because he might not be getting to playing time now, but that doesn't mean he's not going to develop.
Right, he's developing, and also for Felix, who do you want him to take snaps from right now?
Right. That's not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want him. You know he was getting more snaps, but then guess what happened? Amenihue came off a suspension.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's a better player.
Yeah.
But we've seen the Chiefs have done that, taken a year to develop, and I fully expect, like Mike Dana.
Yeah.
He may be, and I love Mike Dana. I hope they can keep him. You talk about a great guy in the locker room, a good player, but he might be playing so well where the price tag might be a little bit too steep. Well,
good
then
for him,
you
man.
have Felix step in, and
that's how it's got to be.
That's right.
Yeah, that's how it's got to be here. And good for Mike Dana. You know, like hopefully he goes and gets paid. You know, after a couple years of winning here.
Yeah.
It'd be great to pay everybody, but yeah.
Pay 'em all.
So Willie Gay, man, what a success story he has been. I mean, he just has gotten better every year, to the point where, like, without, because I think my perception of Willie Gay before this Nick Bolton injury was, okay, well, Willie Gay can do really well if he's right next to a very cerebral player like Bolton. You know, like a guy that's always knows his responsibilities and all that. And maybe the same, you can say, well, he's got Drew Tranquil next to him now, so that's just as good. But I just think Willie Gay has proven himself now to be like, he is a down-in, down-out good linebacker that you trust to go out and play a good game.
Pay him.
He's a
Pay
good
that
player,
man his money.
So, yeah, it's been, but especially coming down the stretch when everybody's a little bit more beat up, if you can get Nick Bolton back in there and all of a sudden Drew Tranquil doesn't have to carry as much of a heavy load, you know, they get a little more rotation in the squad. That, I'm just telling you, man, I know all along, even when the Chiefs lost that game that had us all freaking out about the wide receivers, this team under Andy Reid gets ready for business when they get in December. You know, I mean, they just kind of cruise along and win their games. And then December, that's when, to me, like, that's when you separate the men from the boys in the NFL, is in December. The weather's kind of crappy. The conditions aren't always perfect. Everybody's beat up. And the teams that are cut out for it, they get better. And other teams drop off. And I think that's when we're going to, you know, because we've talked a lot about the standings. That, you know, I'm definitely going to ask this because Sherman and Dieter might disagree with me. They've been through it. But I just think the Chiefs have been like that. But you look at the league right now, how many different 6-5 and 5-6 teams are there? A whole bunch of them. And I think some of them are going to take off in December and some are going to fall away. And we'll finally start to get to see some of that separation. Obviously, some will just kind of muddle along as 500-ish teams.
And
but
some of them because they've lost their quarterback for the season.
Well, yeah, that
the
too.
Browns are going to fall apart. The Bengals are falling apart. So
Yeah.
some of it's just attrition, you know.
Yeah.
Some of it's as simple as who stays healthy.
God, the Browns are still 7-4. Isn't that wild? But yeah, they'll probably fall apart.
Yeah,
but the
you know
Chiefs-
what? I think you saw the first step. They got Denver put it on them.
Yeah.
You know, but
Maybe Denver's one of those teams that they won 5 in a row.
Denver's taking. I think Buffalo. I still think somehow they're going to turn things around, but we'll see. But now, who's the Browns quarterback now?
Oh, who is the Browns quarterback?
Huh?
Come on.
Come on! Do not tell him
Well, I'm about to look it
who's
up.
going to be stepped. No, I don't want you to just think about it.
Boo.
He's taking snaps as Cleveland's QB1 yesterday in practice and could start his first game for the Browns on Sunday. Vic Fangio somewhere is fired up.
Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco,
There
ladies
we
and
go.
gentlemen. But we say that kiddingly. That might be enough to get them to turn things around.
He's won a Super Bowl, hasn't
He'd
he?
be replacing Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who's right now in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
So I don't know, even though Joe Flacco is Joe Flacco, he still could be an upgrade over Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And with that defense,
Hey, we know you can take
maybe
a
he's
snap
enough.
under center,
Well, absolutely.
which is important.
That's right. We'll take a break back after this on WHB.